There are no winners in this story. There are no heroes. God. It gets worse.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Like,
but so the internet,
my ego is kind of padded a little bit.
Behind the scenes videos, it looks like these girls are like afraid of him. So like clearly there's something going on here. And like,
yes, Mr. Spielberg is a good producer.
Exactly.
He is a very nice man.
It's like pedo Weinstein in here, which like, and that's the other thing. Like, so George Miller, Joji, Pink Guy. Are you familiar with that? Internet troll turned R&B artist.
Yeah, didn't he like do the first Harlem Shake video?
Yes. He was the one to somehow come up with that nonsense. He, under his Pink Guy persona, made a song called Nickelodeon Girls, where he's pleading for Dan Schneider to stop making the girls younger and younger and bring back all of the stars of yesteryear now that they're legal adults, because he can't masturbate and watch Nickelodeon anymore.
Okay, Pink Guy.
Yeah. And it started to unravel this whole thing. And if you look, like, YouTubers started putting videos out about Dan Schneider, like showing brief evidence of it. And then Nickelodeon just fired him and his whole production company.
So it probably just started off as a joke. We're like, isn't this funny?
Yeah.
Like, this guy, he made these things and this stuff happens. I'll include it as a song lyric. Kind of like one of my favorite things to bring up to people. The movie Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
You know about the skeleton scene in there?
No.
Oh, okay. So the skeleton scene where they find a prop skeleton.
Was it a real skeleton in a murder?
Better.
Oh.
When they're putting together all the props for, because Return of the Living Dead starts off in a scene or in a like medical supply house where they have like stuff would go off to a medical like doctor college, where like here's like a split dog is a legit thing in the movie, and they find a skeleton, and the old grizzled guy who works in the warehouse training the new young guy goes and like tell him this anecdote about how all of the skeletons they get through their warehouse come from India. And when you're watching it, it's just like, oh, that's fucking weird. Okay. But then I watched it again with the audio commentary from the filmmakers and directors and everything, and they're going through and they're like, no, that's true. Up until we made our film, that was 100% true. And then this movie got released and we had that line in the movie. Now you can't buy skeletons from India anymore. God. So the theory goes that there were skeleton farms in India where they would just like kidnap people with perfect teeth and everything, because they pointed out in the movie where all the skeletons have perfect teeth. And they're all about the same height.
Oh, dear God.
But yeah, so it's February 20th, 2020. I'm Charles. I am here with Clint.
This would be me, Clint.
This is a gateway to lesser things, where apparently we're talking about skeletons.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, like, I was reading, what was his? Bob Bordella, serial killer, owned a curiosity shop, sold occult objects, things like that, sold skulls.
Now, I've been to these curiosity shops. Are you saying that almost every serial killer has one, or is this just
specifically the one-off?
That makes me feel a little better, because I've made the road trip out to New York just to visit Obscura, because it like was when that show was on the Travel Channel or whatever, and I was like, I have to go. My ex-wife got in a truck and drove.
Got to see the weird shit.
It was cool. I'm glad I went.
Well, fortunately, this curiosity shop isn't around anymore. But Bob Bordella, I forget how many people he murdered, but like it was gruesome, like experiments that he would do, like shoving Drano in their throats and eyes to make them blind, using them as like sex slaves until he inevitably broke them within like 72 hours and had to get rid of the bodies.
So broke them physically,
yes.
Not just emotionally.
Yeah, just like, oh, better throw this one out in the garbage, which he literally threw them in the garbage.
What?
And a garbage truck picked them up and
was just like, okay.
Yeah, he got away with multiple murders like this.
What state was Bob Bordella?
Yeah, Bob Bordella. I can't even fucking remember. Oh my God. But I just, where this anecdote with skeletons comes from is he sold skulls in his shop, but only one of them was possibly human remains.
Okay.
It's just, I feel that, like, if you're killing people and you're selling skulls, at least sell the authentic thing.
Yeah.
It just...
You do have the perfect place to get rid of them.
It just seems wasteful of a skeleton.
Yeah, like, I have all this great inventory, but I can't do anything with it because it's too legit.
And then another thing, so I mean, I'm just, for some reason, this is deviating into a course in my mind of body disposal and what you do with bodies.
I am not in the business of getting flagged on that.
Okay.
So
we can save that the Shinrikyo if we ever talk about that lovely death cult. They have some interesting stuff too.
Okay, we can
yeah. So
I don't know. I don't know if I want to like divulge any theories I've thought of because the fucked up things when you're looking for stuff to talk about, you start Googling.
Oh yeah.
And then
it
you're
gets
just
dark.
like, how would this happen? What do they do in the event that that is not a thing I really need it to know?
Yeah. And I'd say it's an important lesson. Keep going to the dentist. Get dental records done.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they're going to find you.
Yeah. Or find out that, like, India has skeleton farms.
Yeah.
Or had.
I mean, a necromancer would make so much bank there.
Yeah, a necromancer. He's just a cleric, but he got there late.
He'd just call in, he'd order up a skeleton, wouldn't even have to go and dig it out himself.
India is just a weird country to me. Like, it's so fundamentally different than here. Like, the population density is, like, stupid deep.
The images, like, it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't think I could do it.
I just can't, like, imagine the world of, like, India is as close to me as, like, Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Like you go to Tatooine, it's a desert planet, and everything's different, and you've got to deal with the Hutts. To me, that's, like, that must be what it's like to go to India. Because, I am so used to the American way of doing things that I cannot imagine the cultural shift where, like, from what I've heard, they still have the caste system.
Yes.
And, like, I don't know if I want to really get into that too much, but, like, just the notion that, like, you're born into this sucks to be you, man.
I mean, then again, that's capitalism in a nutshell as well. So
yeah, that is true.
Let's be fair.
But if you're smart enough and you win the lottery,
and you get your bootstraps out of your lottery ticket, and you buy the boots with your lottery,
or you blackmail McDonald's
and you spill that coffee. Although in her defense,
I've seen the photos. That was awful.
Yeah. Like, everyone likes to laugh. I think actually that would be a good topic. That would be a good topic too. Is just like things that everyone has a preconceived notion of that are just bull.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are, they joke about it, but this old lady was burned.
And the problem was McDonald's was serving their coffee so hot because they didn't want you to taste it until you had already left. Which to me is just like, hey, can you just not make it scaldingly hot?
Yeah. Can this coffee burn flesh should not be a thing that anyone ever has to ask under any circumstances. There's a million things to talk about Chris Chan.
Mm-hmm.
You know Chris Chan?
I've heard the name.
Okay. So this one may be one for later because you need to do a little bit of boning up.
Okay.
A little bit of so like that meme that's been going around lately where it's Sonic Chew. Well, no, it's Sonic Tops Pikachu.
Yeah, okay.
Sonic Chew was a creation of this very touched individual. And I'm saying that as nicely as possible.
We don't have to be nice here. I like to think of this podcast as not a safe space.
Okay.
I don't care because we live 2 buttons above the Bible Belt. Yeah. So the fact that I have to deal with so many people's bullshit all day, I just don't like my tolerance for like being politically correct and trying to like not upset someone. I have a lot of friends on the left. I have a lot of friends on the right. I just did the opposite hand gestures for both directions from where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. Get pissed off or not. Have a good sense of humor. Grow up. Respect that no one cares.
So, it's amazing what people can do to entirely mess up somebody with autism's life.
Ooh, okay. And now I did back in college and high school. I had a girlfriend at the time that she was really involved with special needs people, and so like I went and I volunteered. I did not like participate. Well, I participated as a volunteer to have a buddy at a thing called Handy Camp, where I've dealt with a lot of autistic people from the short time that I did that. So like I definitely know that like autistic people, if like a part of their day that is planned out doesn't go right, oh, that fucks with them.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like on the same spectrum as Asperger's and a few other
Asperger's actually has been molded into just being autism according to the DSV.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure that's the book, the DSV, and then it's one of those things where, so I'm just going to assume autism is what we're dealing with here.
Sure.
But it's one of those things. I know plenty of people with autism, you know, being a nerd.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, like, I may even be a little bit autistic myself.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I get the whole, you know, it's neurotypicals are neurotypicals. It's not anyone smarter or dumber. It's literally just this is a different way of processing things that is at odds with what we consider typical. But the problem is when you take a kid like this and you leave him with a babysitter who, like, scares the heck out of him so bad he stops talking for several years.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So,
how did the parents get to keep their kid?
So they left him with this babysitter. The babysitter locked him in his room surrounded by toys at the age of 3. And he didn't start talking somewhere until about 6 or so.
Okay, so it's not as bad as where my mind first went, which was he was talking, he was functioning, and then the babysitter came and...
He does blame the babysitter for a lot of it. And when I say he, here's the other thing. The pronouns are accurate for the moment. I may jump around pronouns, which there's story later. Okay. Like this, I could do, one of my favorite YouTubers has a in-depth chronological series of this person's life because literally they made all of their life's records public knowledge. Like old homework, photos, YouTube videos out the wazoo.
That's got to do something for like psychology down the road.
Oh, absolutely. It is the most fascinating experiment into a story where there are no winners. Yeah. Everyone is terrible in this tale.
I don't know. It's just a thing to me that up until relatively recent times, we have not been able to document this much of someone's life.
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
That's what we're freaking doing right now. Yeah, is like I like hanging out with my friends, talking, shooting the shit about different things. So come over and I have like stupid stuff to sit around, and we do that now as a thing that I don't know why I have accepted this as normal.
I mean, we say a lot of stupid and entertaining things, and it feels nice to let other people hear those stupid and entertaining things.
Get in on our joke.
And yeah, exactly. And oh God, I can go somewhere else with that entirely about data, but neither here nor there.
Okay. So we're talking about this
Chris Chan. Let's bring it back together. Yeah. So
he documented his whole life, or someone else documented?
He did. He was the one. So oh God, the thing with this is also the fans of Christery, as it's called. Okay. They jump around to different sagas. There is a linear timeline of his life, but the sagas are what the fans use to kind of keep track of what was going on.
So, like, he gets into Hot Wheels.
Exactly. So here's the thing, like, oh God, what was it? It was GoBots. GoBots were the thing to finally get him talking.
Not Transformers.
GoBots.
Okay.
So GoBots got him talking. He's still a kid here. He's at the mall during Christmas time, and there's the Leonard Bernstein animatronic bear band.
Okay.
His name at this point is Chris Chandler. The Bernstein Band, or whatever it's called, the Leonard Bernstein, wow, is one of those shows where there's someone behind the animatronic conducting the whole dang thing with a microphone.
So the person tells the bear to track this person.
Or the bear they'll talk and it'll look like the bear is talking.
Yeah.
But it's the very Wizard of Oz setup here.
Okay.
The bear, Chris, his name was Chris at this point, Christopher, was the only person really there with the bear. So the bear and him were kind of bantering back and forth. The bear thought he said his name was Christian and called the kid Christian back. Now, if you were communicating with an animatronic bear and he called you by the wrong name, what would you do?
As a regular human?
Actually, better yet, let's say, what would your parent or you do if you were the parent of a child called the wrong name?
If I were the parent and the child I was taking care of, and I called the wrong name, I might try to be like, oh no, little guy or gal's name is this. If it was me, I would probably fuck around with the animatronic bear. No, it's Christianistropherson.
Okay, they did one better. They took it as a sign from God and legally renamed him to Christian.
The parents?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Animatronic bears do not get to change your name.
Apparently they do, and some holy because it was Christ-like.
Hey, Levinskovich, what should we call Clint?
I'm not letting the fish name me. That's against everything I stand for.
But I like that. I think it was...
Yeah. I'm going to have a lot of hard times writing that on checks. But...
Okay.
This is just a little deep dive into...
So the parents really dropped the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Changed the kid's name.
Oh, yeah.
Which, huge identity issues that the kid's going to have from this.
Yeah, from the get-go.
I listened to a podcast called The Dollop where, every so often there's an episode, and it's always the more fucked up humans from history that, then the parents at the age of 12 changed the kid's name.
Yep. Every time.
They then just have some kind of wigged out identity issue.
And then the other thing, too, is serial killers too, or just anyone in general, the parent, I forget who exactly this was, but force the kid to start presenting as the other gender against the kid's own personal will. Kid typically turns into a serial killer. That's kind of, it's once you've given that self-doubt and once you've kind of given that self-doubt, it's that it really gets in the head here.
Yeah. So, Ed Gein made skin suits and then would dress and act as a woman.
Yeah.
The human condition is fragile and fucked up.
Yeah. If somebody wants to transition on their own accord, that's awesome. That's affirming. That's the shit that I live for. But when you take your child and you mold them into this thing where they don't have their own solid identity, it's
But how where is that line though? Because at a certain point, your child is going to figure out their shit and do things on their terms. On the other hand, your name is Joshua. Why is your name Joshua? Why did I pick one of my friends' names? Because it's common, I guess. You are this, and we have decided that this is you. And now you have to take this and mold what little arrest that makes that a thing.
Well, yeah, it's weird because it's my son. Mm-hmm. I have a lovely 8-year-old who, when he was 4, was watching Digimon 24/7 when he was at his grandparents' house. He got to a point where he refused to call me anything but the Digimon Emperor. And he referred to himself as Tai, the protagonist of that arc of Digimon. I just let that shit roll.
Okay.
I tried to correct him a few times at first, out of panic, why is he so obsessed with Digimon?
How did your son kind of Does he still, or did he grow out of it?
He grew out of it.
How did it resolve?
He kind of just forgot about it one day. He did this for about 6 months. And
Okay,
then he
so he was just like, Digimon Emperor, Dad. Oh.
He didn't even say Dad.
Hey, Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, that's literally, he just kind of moved on. It's like, Dad, one day. And I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
And then the other thing, too, is like, this was when he was starting to read as well. He had the legendary Pokemon Zekrom. Is a giant weird, it's a big black dragon bird thing. He had a toy of it. And his mother one day, she doesn't know shit about Pokemon. And he, there's like a billion T Pokemon. You're 4 years old. You're not going to remember anything. He asked her what the name of that Pokemon was. And she said, well, that's Spiky Wings.
So she then started calling it Spiky Wings?
Yeah, he would not relent. I would bring him out books. I would show him like the anime where they refer to it by name. I had several bits of evidence that I could try to argue with this 4-year-old. Nothing sat.
Yeah, Jenny's told me about how with her kid, even like with letters, symbols, letters, the alphabet, Jenny's daughter at like some points, because she was told something wrong, argues incessantly with Jenny over these things. So I've seen it firsthand where it's just like, you're wrong because the earth is not flat.
And yeah, and once you've gotten that in the programming, it's at least for a foreseeable future, it's locked in there.
Yeah, until something shakes them.
Yeah.
So we've gone on a couple of side tangents. I think Chris Chan.
Yeah, we can go back to that because that's where the next part of this comes into.
I am going to definitely credit you as Digimon Emperor Clint.
Yes, thank you.
So hopefully your dad will get that reference, or you're not your dad, your kid.
Oh yeah, one day. And I would let him listen to this at least for 16 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, told him he can cuss when he's 16. He's hyped.
Okay.
Got to be old enough to drive before he can cuss.
I don't think Jenny's ever put that kind of a label on when it's okay to or not. I mean, there's definitely, it's a thing. You're going to do it. We like to imagine that kids are going to grow up and not be a garbage person like inevitably
like
3/4 of the population is.
Yeah.
But so yeah, okay. So God comes down and tells the kid that his name is Christian.
Yeah, and he just takes it.
Okay.
This is a sign. He's now Christian.
So
that's where
as
we're
good
at.
As Pirates of the Caribbean, the ride just like, thanks Christian, bye.
Yeah, so he moves on. Okay. He's named. And then things he starts to develop, what typical autistic kids do is they'll find something they're interested in. In this case, it was Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay.
So he's watching Sonic the Hedgehog, and this was back in the day of television sweepstakes, for those too young to remember those. The show would tell you, like, pay attention or answer the secret question, and then send an envelope, and you had to send physical mail, and you had to hopefully you recorded the show so that you could pause it right in time, so you could write down the address of where this envelope was going.
And if you missed 1 week out of like the 5 weeks in a row,
you're done.
You're out.
Yeah, you need to just stay in, get programmed by the commercials, and catch that 5 seconds at the end of each episode. So he actually won a contest for Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay. It was like several $1,000s in credit at KB Toys for video games.
Okay, was that where the robot was, or was the robot somewhere?
The GoBots was before this.
Okay, GoBots before that. Okay.
There's I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here because like if I talk about Chris, it's gonna just decades.
So you've gone down this rabbit hole.
Oh, absolutely. I am far invested in this as you can be. I was there around originally when this personality came to light.
Interesting. All right.
So I'm going to skip over a lot of the stuff in high school. Clearly, he's not popular with the women. Clearly, he has issues connecting with his peers. His dad was paying some of the local girls to be his friend. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much? Do we know?
I don't even know.
How long did it go on before Christian Chris found out?
I don't know if he ever did. He had to have at some point, because that's
Yeah.
how we know. But
Okay.
at the point, he never, like, a normal person like you or me would be like, my dad's paying people to hang out with me? That's wrong. Chris kind of just shrugged and was like, well, I guess they still like me.
Or they like me well enough to be here. Hey, by the way, I get 10%.
Yeah. And it's just like... He also did lose his virginity to a prostitute. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's another tidbit. We're going to jump out of the timelines here. But he dubbed any female that was his friend as one of his gal pals.
I'm really happy that you did not say waifu.
No waifus. See, this
Okay.
this was before anime was that prevalent, because he is a little bit older. He's closer to mid 30s.
Okay, so around our age bracket.
Yeah, our age bracket, upper end. So he's, Japanime was still the term at this point.
All right, so he's not a weeb.
Yeah, he's not a weeb yet.
Okay.
But then he about the time that Sailor Moon and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh become a thing, he's just hopeless.
Okay.
That was what just killed it. So he's got his gal pals. He's nerdy. His mom at this point is a hoarder. His dad is a collector of sorts. His dad, very kind of strict-ish, but also like not really paying attention to what his son does.
Okay.
So, we've got a nice little recipe for disaster here. And I'm trying to think the best way of putting this. He had... There's all sorts of other inane bullshit, but I'll skip right to the fun parts where he, for a class assignment, couldn't use actual characters. He couldn't use... His teacher said nothing copyrighted. It has to be an original design.
Okay, so you can't use Mario, you can't use Sonic. You have to come up with your own. Like, what about, probably didn't cover it, the public domain. Like, Dracula's in the public domain. You can use him, but not as the main character.
Exactly. So he has to design a CD album, like a cover, the actual as a visual design class.
Okay.
Pokemon was popular at the time. And he loved Sonic. He just threw the two together. His own thing.
All right.
It's not a copyright. It's my own thing. I'm the inventor of the electric hedgehog.
Not only is it 10% different, it's also 50% different.
Exactly.
Okay.
Sonichu, the electric hedgehog Pokemon, zapped to the extreme. Yeah, so he's got this on, and like to his benefit, with the skills that he had, he was very creative. He started making this comic book. He started coloring it in. He started, with crayons, as you do.
So he goes full indie developer or on his own comic book.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So and for the longest time, he's like, this is the thing. However, he also loves Pokemon.
Does he mash up more characters?
He made his own custom set of Pokemon cards, including, I think one of them was a bug type with autism. So
did he put himself in his own game?
Yes, he later made a card for himself. And as time goes on, there are several personas that he inhabits, several characters, like fan characters of himself, other hedgehog, women that he has a crush on, things of that nature.
Okay.
So he's like doodling it up, not really harming anyone. Weird, not really doing anything with his life.
Almost sounds kind of like the cartoon Doug from the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Where Doug lived in his own fantasy world of Whale Man and whatever the James Bond parody was.
Yep. He ended up making what he called Quickfill, which is a version of his initials, Christian Weston Chandler.
Okay.
ended up making this own imaginary place where he was mayor and Sonic Chew lived, and he built it out of Lego in his bedroom. And he was in high school at the time, college at the time.
So he makes the Lego movie.
Yeah, basically he's like a less talented Will Ferrell here.
Okay.
And he's also going to the Game Place, this game store in Ruckersville, Virginia, near Charlottesville. So it's kind of, not really too many options for a game store out there. And naturally, the internet, 4chan in particular, takes a creep shot of him just being a weird guy, because he's very weird. He would like dress up in an Ash Ketchum costume he made himself to go play Pokemon. He was definitely this was keep in mind, this was, oh god, when was this, the early thousands when Pokemon first.
I'm trying to paint the mental picture here, and you're gonna have to help me out. Is he one of those nerds that he's overweight or underweight?
Overweight
Ash Ketchum.
He has a medallion around his neck made of Crayola model magic of Sonic Chew that at this point he would wear 24/7, and is always seen in some variation of a striped shirt, if not in cosplay.
Okay.
So that sets the picture here, and like,
I have met some people like this in my travels.
Oh, absolutely. Not unheard of to see a person like this in a game store.
Yeah, it sounds like the kind of the right place where they would be.
But when the internet gets a whiff of this kid with a medallion of his original character, and finds out that he has a website with a hand-drawn comic riddled with spelling errors and doodled in crayon, it's over. That's Terminus.
All right.
And that's kind of, I mean, I could talk about this for hours, because keep in mind, this is just the iceberg. This is just the intro to Chris Chan.
But I have a visual mental picture of this guy, and now I understand the world that he's built for himself.
Yeah, and it gets wilder.
Okay.
If you ever record yourself having sex with blow-up draws and drinking your own semen out of orange soda and put it on the internet willingly, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
I would like to point out that Tobias is a styrofoam skeleton, and Levinsky is also styrofoam. They are not blow up. They do not have orifice. Levinsky, we're going to have to cover your mouth, because it's a little too big and a little too suggestive.
And then
and we are not that kind of show.
Yeah, we are not that kind of show.
All right. Now I feel awkward in my own room.
Well, Christian isn't here. He can't harm you.
I can't drink Orange Crush in here now. I digress. I don't know if that joke actually worked.
So no,
for us.
I liked it, but some.
Man.
I'll hit some other highlights.
So he legit blow up doll had his own like orgy for himself and his fictional characters, and and snowballed himself.
Yep, he was featured on several talk radio channels, goes on racist diatribes, has a what he calls an attraction sign.
Hold on. The guy who lives in a world with fictional characters that he made up goes on racist diatribes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't need
anti-Semitic ones.
Okay, I don't need to know the actual racial slurs he used. So is it like any like non-Aryan or
you can use your imagination and you'd be correct.
So he's racist.
Oh yeah.
He has his own world. He's got his own medallion. How can you be into anime and be racist? I am sorry. My mind cannot compute this, because what I know about anime, like, the Japanese send this out to other parts of the world. They get it. They interpret it into their language, and then either recut it severely or don't. And like, it's kind of this thing that like nerds throughout the whole planet find it and are just like, oh yeah, I like this too.
But you have to also realize they were an Axis power. Which, hilariously enough, one of his gal pals, who he was trying to pick up and bonded with over Sailor Moon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, he bought her Nazi German photographs off of eBay to try to win her affection. So if we're jumping around here, when you think about it,
she was Emma Braun.
Yeah. So when you jump around, I mean, and then if you look at the state of anime, getting off a little bit of a tangent here, they have things like animes where it's the world powers getting together and talking, and they're bishi boys, they're cute boys.
Yeah.
We have animes where it's like little girls as Nazi tanks. We have like, just a general like fetishization of uniforms and military and World War II
and nosebleeds, because you can't just show an erection.
So it's not a far-fetched that like there's some sort of inherent racism or something when it comes to anime. It's kind of terrifying when you think about it, especially the way that like Japan itself perceives foreigners.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
The representation of foreigners in anime too is not always nice.
No.
Like, let's look at like Bandit Keith and Yu-Gi-Oh. Have you watched any Yu-Gi-Oh?
Not a heck of a lot, but go on.
So you have the most American character of the show. He wears a bandana and sunglasses. He's constantly cheating or stealing from other players. He's discarding people that are no longer of use to him. And when he loses a children's card game, he just straight up pulls a gun out and tries to shoot the president of the card game company.
Okay.
That's the typical American experience in Japan, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah. And like, on one hand, I'm like,
be an American.
Yeah. And on one hand, I'm like really disappointed. But then on the other hand, I'm like, no, that's pretty plausible.
I mean, I don't know what to say. So
yeah. So I think that would be a nice thing for later as well. Just animes where there's terrible Americans involved.
Oh, I'm sure we've done our fair amount of influence on other cultures to justify those things.
Oh, exactly. I mean, death and bombs and
yeah.
Especially like going back, like Japan, basically the emperor had to like lay down his godhood, so to speak, when they surrendered in the war. That, never mind the nuclear bombs, there were the fire bombings that killed millions of people too. So it's like that kind of harshes your mellow when your theocracy is vulnerable to nuclear attack.
Yeah, I've heard people give the argument before that without the nuclear bomb, like the fighting would have gone on longer. So in the roundabout, unfortunate,
less people died, but
because of the shock and awe.
Yeah,
you still did this, but like, I don't know. It could have just been a right wing like thing that passed around my work where someone was saying that like Obama tried to apologize for us nuking them and during World War II, and they refused the apology because I don't know. I don't get to nuke people, and I don't think we should ever have to again.
Yeah,
hopefully.
it's one of those things.
Try not to.
Yeah,
try not to nuke the world.
Yeah. I mean, the whales maybe, but the world...
Oh, fuck the whales.
Yeah.
First of all, they're related to dolphins. I have my issues with the dolphins. There's a conspiracy.
They're rapists.
Yeah.
They're all rapists.
We were
back to racist. Rapists.
Racist
rapists.
With gal pals. That are... All right.
So if we jumping back in, he had...
Let's go. Let's go to town.
He had an attraction sign when he was in college. I need to pull this up. But basically, the whole point of the attraction sign was he did not have the wherewithal to flirt with or approach anyone.
So, like, he would just pull out his business card of an attraction sign that's like, hey, I want to sniff your panties.
And, oh my God, I forgot. So the sign itself is like very unreadable as is. You'd have to get close to him to like understand what it was.
Okay.
Let me go ahead here. So the text above, I do not condone or agree with any of these sentiments, for the record. 21 and single white male, shy, smart, young at heart, computer skilled, humorous, a great thinker and go-getter, natural salesperson, enjoys good parts of life, diplomatic, friendly, loves his family, peaceful, very creative. He's lonely. Seeking a cute 18 to 21 single female companion, 18 to 21 years of age, does not already have a boyfriend, single, average to slender weight, body type, white, lives in Charlottesville or Ruckersville area, does not smoke or drink alcohol, happy positive personality, average/high income, drives a vehicle. Then there's a picture of Sonichu's face. If any men read the sign, mind your own business. And to all men with girlfriends, except marrieds and blacks, go jump off a cliff. Have a nice day.
Wow. Like,
yeah, what a winner. Like,
it starts off really like, okay, like, you don't understand social interaction.
Yeah, not
That's
at all.
fine.
Not at
Okay.
all. And one of the guidance counselors just took such an like a hatred of this, tore the sign up and suspended him.
Well, if you cut the last bit off, like post the Sonic Chew, you know, it's not a good way to go about it.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't immediately have a problem with it. It's around that point where it's just like, man, we're gonna nosedive hard, real quick, double quick that, and just fuck it.
Yep. All in.
Wow.
Yeah. So, as you can imagine, that wasn't successful. Skipping ahead, there's all sorts of other trolling and incidents and kind of, some of the highlights. Chris has transitioned to Christine. So we have Christine.
Did she update the flyer?
The flyer's no longer involved because she's in a relationship with her own original character, Magi-chan, who she's going to cross into the new dimensional merge, and all OC characters in everyone's head will become a reality.
I got to all OC and I had to stop reading.
Somewhere along the way, she ran over or tried to hit a game store attendant from the game store she was banned in. This was still he. Like, see, and pronouns, it's very weird because I am a big champion of respecting people's pronouns. God damn it. Don't be a transphobe. Don't be fucking weird. Cherish people, love people, let them be them.
You know, if you're not hurting anyone else, what's the big deal?
But with here, there are so many tales and stories where it's like it's intrinsically tied to the personality of the character at the time. It's hard to see this as like a linear timeline or even the same person because things just get worse and worse and worse. And I jumped ahead far. I just omitted like 20 plus hours of lecture over the life that occurred from like the 20s to the mid 30s.
I on one hand, I want to know how we went from just Sonic Chew to Magi-chan.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I'm terrified.
Yeah. So the comics, they kept getting put out.
Will not say die. We'll keep making comics. Do we graduate from Crayola?
No, it always stays there. Almost always. At one point, Chris, then this was a big thing too, going back to the Megan Schroeder, which that's one of his gal pals.
Megan Schroeder.
Yeah, Megan Schroeder is a good one to look up. So eventually...
Schroeder. Let's just give it a sec. Josh just got here.
Okay.
I mean, it could be Levinskovich's fault.
I blame Levinskovich.
Yeah. All right, so... Let's bring Josh up to speed.
Okay.
A revised, quick...
So, kid with autism, his parents are shit. Rename him because an animatronic bear told them to. Writes comic books about his OC creation, which is totally original, consisting of Sonic the Hedgehog and Pikachu, called Sonichu. His dad pays girls to be his friends. He thinks he stands a chance with them. He does not. Yeah, so he's kind of creepy, racist.
He has a flyer for picking up women.
A
Yes.
flyer.
Yes. He flyer.
And instead of actually going out and interacting and talking, he like had his criteria like printed up with a picture of Sonic Shoe. And then he goes off it's after the picture of Sonic Shoe that he goes off the deep end.
And he tells men to go jump off a cliff instead of reading his sign.
Wow.
So this is in college.
Wow.
And yeah. So his guidance counselor tears up the sign, rightfully so. He gets suspended. And that's kind of like...
This might be the first person in his life to actually do their job.
Yeah, the first. There were a few teachers along the way who tried with a gentle nudge, but this was the first nudge.
Wow.
The first.
First, hey, buddy.
Yeah.
You know, people might like you better if you didn't put up flyers around college telling people to jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
Wow.
He also had the red string of fate at times. What? If anyone's seen, I believe it was Ranma 1/2, where he would like put a string out and be holding the other end of the string, trying to get people to follow the string to him.
So, like, he'd put it around corners and stuff?
Oh, yeah. But, like, can you imagine, like, I've described this guy. He's overweight. He's not pretty to look. I can pull up the nudes and topless videos of him as well if you need to.
Wow.
Or as Josh also missed, the sex videos are, like, all publicly there on the
Oh,
internet.
holy shit.
Yeah,
he might be the first person to ever willingly put all of their content ever out.
Wow.
And not sex with a human person, mind you.
Wow.
So...
It's pretty dangerous.
And I'm not even touching on the stuff like the alleged bestiality, and we're just gonna skip over that. We're gonna.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel kind of boring now.
There are no winners in this story. There are no
my
heroes. It gets worse.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Like,
But so the
my
internet.
ego is kind of padded a little bit.
So between the game store, people finding him in the game store and putting him on 4chan. You missed that part as well.
Wow.
Lovely. Fun
Not
times.
Reddit, 4chan. I maintain that I'm part of the better social group.
Something awful. Reddit. Yeah, I mean, they're all
You're the
cesspool.
man now, dog.
Oh my god, why TMND? Oh my god, we could do a whole video on early internet. I could do all the Habbo Hotel raids, the Scientology raids. I was deep in
so
that
many
shit,
protests.
man. I was there. But anywho,
Did we go to the same protests?
I did not go to the Scientology protests. I was in the ICQ channels telling everyone that this was a stupid idea.
I didn't listen.
I know you didn't listen. No one listened. And then they all got doxxed, and then luckily nothing really came of it, either direction. But that's, yeah.
Okay.
Scientology's fun. Yeah. So, like, oh god, so we're back to the sign. We're back to the sign, the string.
The string of fate. So
Not only was he found doing this stuff, another fun thing he used to do is he used to go to the local mall, and he would just pace around. Normally with a Game Boy in hand, Game Boy Advance, what have you, headphones on, just like errantly scream singing whatever song he had in his head.
Wow.
And it's just like, and it's one of those things where like...
So he's walking around the mall, playing Game Boy, just screaming, "I'm so fancy!"
If that song
You
existed,
already
yes,
know.
absolutely. If that was around back then, that would have been exactly where his mind was. He made a bunch of original songs, like they're all...
Could have been rapping his own shit.
Yeah, like they're all, but it's all like to the tune of, so it's like songs about being a virgin. Backstreet, I Want It That Way. He has a parody of that called I Want a Girlfriend, where he goes on about how he's a virgin with rage. So, I mean, this is all on the internet. You can just jump in and get this stuff.
Oh my god.
So, but this he was pacing, and he saw a clerk inside of one of the a clothing store, and he locked eyes with her.
Dun, dun, dun.
She locked eyes with him.
Dun, dun, dun.
And he took that as an open invitation to hit on her. He was going for her number. He was like, just like, oh, that doesn't work. Here's my email address. Gave her like a business card with Sonichu on it.
Wow.
With his OC on it. And like, so, and this was like posted. I don't even remember where this posted, but this was not on 4chan. This was some other, so multiple parts of the internet now.
So he just goes up to a random woman. It's just like, hi, what's your name? Rebecca? Tiffany? Susan? I'm going to call you Rebecca. Anyways, here is my phone number. Here is my email. Here's my online handle. I am on MySpace, Foursquare, this
Essentially,
and that.
he tried to ask her out on a date. He tried to do that nonsense. He tried to use a pickup line about angels or something like angels. Like, I think it was like angels, like, do angels like you have names was what he ended up saying. Like completely mixing two different pickup lines together.
Hey, do angels like you have names?
Okay.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
What's the matter, Josh?
Good.
I've heard the deep space pilots say that angels like you do have names, but only if you know their name, then they become your slave. Da, da, da.
I was seeing a lot of emotion there. I was rooting for you two, but it's okay.
It's over.
The moment's gone. But like,
sorry, Josh.
It's okay. You can try again next time.
Okay. There's always next time.
There's always next time.
All right.
Yeah, so it's just like, and it keeps going, like, trolls come after him, and he, like, can't discern what's reality and what's fake, because his parents have already raised him as an entitled piece of shit in a hoarding house.
Oh, you were telling me before how his babysitter would lock him in his room with nothing but stuffed animals.
It was one incident with just his toys that caused him to go mute.
Yeah, so he just didn't talk for like 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. So, like, there's all sorts of, like, clearly this kid needs help. This kid needed therapy, not necessarily ABA therapy, because fuck that shit, it's torture. But he needed someone to help. But this was the 90s. That help didn't exist in the 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, there was never a chance for him.
That's so unfortunate.
Which... I need to deep dive into it later in regards to all the trolls. The trolls tried to help him. Some ruined his life even more. There were fictitious girlfriends. There was someone that pretended to be him, who was referred to as Liquid Chris, keeping with the Metal Gear Solid theme.
I've had a friend do that to me before, but like that was the thing with me and Kels, where like once I found out she was doing it, I was like, "You fucking bitch!" But that's hilarious. Keep going. But yeah, do this now.
I remember that.
You knew it was a joke, though.
Yeah.
For him, he thought this person was stealing his identity, and then he ended up. There was this girl that Liquid Chris had. That Chris...
So fake him could get a girlfriend, real him couldn't.
Fake him could get a girlfriend.
That makes sense on paper.
Fake him had a girlfriend, so he impersonated fake him so he could try to steal fake him's girlfriend. And then when she found out, air quote, found out, because it was plain as day that it was just him all along... She ended up, like, going on about him betraying her and, like, trying to, like, de facto rape her, because there's things where, like, he's told women, like, he can't just take his hands off of them, like, basically very rapey. Wow. And, yeah, so that's... I could go into records there, but I just want to fast forward. So we're going...
Okay.
Let's just go straight to recent years. He's transitioned... He's only run over one person with a car at this point.
Just one. We're good.
Just one.
Just a one.
Didn't kill them. Got off scot-free for whatever reason. His father died. The trolls actually laid back on him when his dad died. So that was, okay. Sonic Boom was coming out.
Yeah.
For those not familiar with Sonic Boom, it was a multimedia project.
Cartoon series, video game, comic
toys,
book,
everything out the wazoo. This was Sonic's big push.
We're gonna rebrand the entire Sonic franchise.
But the problem is that Sonic had blue arms. So now Christine, she went into a GameStop where a promotional display of Sonic Boom was, and tried to forcibly color in Sonic's arms by vandalizing the display, leaving a note like Sonic's arms aren't blue, and was promptly, questioned and grabbed by the GameStop employees.
I mean, on one hand, if I managed to GameStop, well, I don't care that much. The other hand, stop defacing our shit.
Yeah.
And if you try to kick somebody out of a GameStop, if you were the one being kicked out of the GameStop, what would your response be?
Clint, is this your roundabout story of telling me about ma'am?
No. This is not ma'am. That's a whole nother...
I was like, did he bury the lead?
No, I did not bury the lead. They are not the same person.
Okay. Not ma'am.
See, that situation, we could talk on hours dissecting the way that was just a complete mess up of alt-right. Oh, look at them. There's a lot to unpack there.
Okay.
But this was Chris Chan got kicked out of GameStop, but Christine, in her last moment of glory, pepper sprayed one of the employees.
Oh my God. What?
Over the color of Sonic's arms.
Oh my God.
I mean, to be fair, she had been writing a fan fiction about Sonic Chew for like 20 years.
Yeah, and then on top of that...
So if anyone would know, it's Christine.
Yeah, Christine would know. And the thing is, when you have a character like that, a human person who's just this outlandish, and you're the writer of a kid's television show that probably isn't going to make it past one season.
Did it make it past the season?
I think it did.
I don't think it got rated.
I don't remember it.
I mean, yeah, it's on like Hulu or some shit.
I don't feel like I care enough to Google it.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna assume it's canceled now.
It is, but the funny thing is, when you're writing a show like that, you're gonna need to fill some time. They added an aardvark into the show that was Chris Chan.
What?
Yeah.
How much did this fuck with Christine Chan?
Christine I don't think she realizes that it was making fun of her. Like, it's plain as day that it's an obsessive Sonic fan. Like, I think there's the necklace and everything. There's the striped shirt. It's like, it's clearly the notoriety and infamy got put into the cartoon.
Why?
Yeah. So...
Wow. That's
I know you're like, just what the hell is going on?
I'm kind of just like, holy shit. Like,
no, it gets worse. It gets worse.
Are you serious?
We boiled down, like, dude.
Yeah.
We're over an hour in.
Yeah.
Oh my
no,
God.
no. I could do this for days. Just if I had like a gallon of water and an empty jug for peeing, I could just give my thesis here. So like one of the other best things with Christine is like she thought that she was going through a sex change. Normally
guys have an outie. Girls have an innie.
yes.
Sex change operations, usually you take an innie, making it outie, take an outie,
Yeah.
making it in.
Yep. And normally this is done by a medical professional. You see a psychiatrist. You may do things like go on hormones. Transitioning is a valid, wonderful thing to those people that it affirms their identity. Christine, just theoretically, no one knows what happened. Most likely self-inflicted. Had a bleeding gash on her genitals.
So just,
Yep.
I got a clicky.
Yep.
Wow.
And was convinced that she was growing a vagina.
wow.
Did not get medical attention. It did not heal on its own. At this point, the trolls are trying to help because half of them are like, we have a moral obligation not to let her die. And the other half is like, we have a moral obligation to keep the funnies coming along.
If she dies,
The
then
joke's end.
this is over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That is such a messed up way to like prioritize the situation.
Oh, absolutely. The
I
internet.
can't let you die. I'm not done laughing at you yet.
Oh, yeah. And that's where kind of like high level, like where we are today in Christine lore. She's been more active. She's made the Bronies have this game called Twilight Sparkle's Secret Ship Fic Folder or something. It's a fan made My Little Pony card game about shipping characters. She's made her own set that she sells now.
I'm really disappointed that it wasn't the My Little Pony universe builds a shipping empire, and you have to move cargo from one part of like Pony Land to the next.
Yeah, that's going to be a thing now. I'm doing that. Legality be damned.
You know, Clint.
Yeah.
That then does bring up the original reason why I wanted to start a podcast with you. And
I've been working on games all day. We will get to it.
I don't care about your games. I care about I made a game for you.
I know, and we'll play it.
Okay.
We will play.
So I guess let's finish up this section.
Yeah.
And then we can move on to the next thing.
Okay. So to high level, at some point along the way, Christine came to the understanding that she was some sort of CPU cyber goddess of the Commodore 64 that was destined to lead humanity in part of the dimensional merge where all OC
The
original...
Commodore 64.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Commodore. Wow.
Yeah. It's just the whole thing is like... She's kind of out there in space at this moment. Some guy, Jacob, was like considering himself Jacoba the Destroyer, intent on that he had to impregnate Christine and was going to go live with him. Well, he was going to go live with her. She gave him a blanket, which apparently smelled like urine and diabetes, and that kind of changed his mind. All the meanwhile, Chris is milking Patreon, eBay, and all along this whole time, he's on disability after he got fired from, I believe it was a Wendy's, because he scared a child with a impersonation of, I think it was the Cookie Monster. This was back in the 20s, but he's been on disability since on what he calls his tugboat. His disability is his tugboat. And between
just
that,
tugging him along in life.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
I get that one. I'm fine with tugboat.
Yeah, it's an accurate phrase for what he does with it.
Insert joke about not tugging anything else now.
Yeah, she's back to tugging. She's back to tugging.
Okay.
But so like she's gone completely all off the hinge. Like she's in a polyamorous relationship, married to her original characters. There's videos of her smoking pot with teenage girls, making out with thin air. She's photoshopped her OC girlfriend, wife, Maggie Chan into the picture and then put it in her card game. So like she's chronicled her deviancy and her illegal activities in a fictional world where it's just...
She chronicled the fictional world, not our world where it's illegal.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So anything in these four walls is now in the Tower Cosmic that it exists on a different plane of being. And it's all legal for me to do with Tobias and Lemonskovich that I want.
Yep, exactly.
God, no.
If you want to marry all of them and come inside a Fanta and drink it, like, you're free to do that. God. It was Orange Crush, actually. Yeah, it was Orange Crush.
Orange Crush.
Yeah. Because he thought he had to recycle it.
No.
But he wasn't gay, because also, here's the other thing. He is super homophobic. She is super homophobic. Like,
she's a woman now.
The whole time across the board. She now is more LGBT friendly, obviously, as identifying as a trans woman who's a lesbian. She kind of gets it now.
Okay.
But back then she was like, boys need to play with Optimus Prime dolls and girls need to play with Barbies. And like, it was very just... Yeah, she used to make sex ed videos too. So the whole thing... proponent of a dating school, like I can go on about these little side tangents. Like this is like the crust of the earth here.
Sorry, rewind. Okay, my mind's stuck on a hook here. Proponent of a dating school.
Yes.
That's a sentence you said.
So this is back Chris Chan era.
Okay.
They were obsessed with the idea of the reason why they couldn't get a date was because no one ever taught them how to date.
In Chris/Christina Chan's case,
yeah,
Yeah.
Valid option. Yeah,
I get it.
but it was so pervasive to the point where in the comics there would be a dating school sub-theme where characters were paired up, and he had like this whole dream of how characters would be forced together in high school into romantic pairs. That's like basically eugenics. There was
Hey, Josh.
What's up?
I got this red string.
I'm good.
just gotta pull it, man.
Just gotta pull this red
Just gotta pull the string.
All right.
It's eugenically decided that you and I,
Yeah.
you're an angel, and I need to know your real name.
So, oh god, it's classy. But
Jose Rodriguez.
no, not white. He's out. He's out of the Christine.
Wait, J or H, Jose?
You'll never know.
Goddamn! No!
Names have power. You should know this.
I have a book that I can write in.
But so the dating thing also too, like at one point there was a letter written to Nintendo about the DS game Sprung, and Nintendo Power put the letter in there. Nintendo Power put the letter where they were describing how the game Sprung, which if you don't remember was a launch title for the Nintendo DS made by a third party, where it was basically an American attempt on a visual novel game, and it sucked balls. Even by the standards of early thousands gameplay, it sucked. And that's how he prepared himself for dating.
Wow.
So clearly was not successful. But
Okay.
yeah, so it's the dating school, the dating training, it's very pervasive theme throughout.
On one hand, I just want to say that I do feel for this person that, like,
Oh, absolutely.
you shouldn't grow up tortured, first thing.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I know people who, once again, severe level of autism, that they do have an issue with, neurotypicals. But the thing is, they found their niche. They found ways to cope. They found supportive friends and family who have been there and understand.
I mean,
None of this existed.
I know that's the part that makes me kind of sad about it, but also intrigued that it went unchecked for so long.
Oh, it's still going unchecked. And the moment his mom dies, his mom is still alive. His dad passed away. He's pushing 40 now. She's pushing 40 now. The final chapter is yet to be decided.
This is going to be some college professors entire.
Oh no, there are lectures already on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
my God.
yeah. So
Well,
just hug your kids.
Yeah, hug your kids, talk to them, tell them how to actually treat other humans and what is not socially acceptable. If
Morals and
things-
values.
Yeah, if more things come up and you want to fill us in, I think going to be permanently intrigued. The Commodore 64.
Yeah.
Goddess of the Commodore 64.
Yo, yeah. It's Twitter rants for days. They're still active. This is ongoing. This is an ongoing investigation into madness.
Holy shit.
I was socially awkward as a kid, so I can understand like the desire for like
But you grew
a
up.
class where like you grow up, you make mistakes, you feel awkward, you learn, you move on. But like for someone in this vantage point in life, like wanting like a dating school, I kind of get it. No, I don't think this red rope, this whatever the heck they've thought up sounds like it's the right course of action, but I don't know. I fucking don't know. And it is with that, I say we move on to the next topic.
Okay. I'm going to go smoke a cigarette real quick.
What a fucking gem. What a goddamn fucking gem of a person. I want to know more.
Let me link you to something. You'll need some viewing.
I hope the best for them. I don't mean to be too much of a evil ass, but at the same time, oh god, what a train wreck.
It's still going. Oh my god.